Fight fans, what's good? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. It's your host, Bando. You already know I had to come through because we got a major event this weekend. The White House event is finally here. UFC Freedom 250. This is a huge card, not just because of the location, but it is a stacked card with some extremely important matchups on it, so you already know I had to come through with a breakdown. We always do the high stakes fighter breakdowns, but you already know I got to do the full-on breakdown for this card. So let's waste no more time. Let's get into it. Let's smoke. So we're going to start off with a quick shout out to the golf brand Cloud9. We are trying to grow this brand as much as we possibly can. Your boy has been golfing like crazy, right? Crazy. And it's weird. I'm talking about golf on a fight podcast when I should be in the gym training that. And trust me, coming soon. Your boy is doing everything he's wanted to do for years in 2026. Okay, I've been wanting to do so many different things for so long. In 2026 and this summertime, I'm taking advantage of everything I can. No lie. That's why I've been playing golf. I've probably golfed 22 or 23 rounds already since April. So your boy's been really grinding on the golf, and we're definitely grinding for the brand. So shout out to Cloud9 Golf. Follow it on TikTok. I'll drop it below. But what are we here for? We're not here for golf. We are here for the fight game. We are here for the combat, and we are here because UFC Freedom 250 is this weekend. Ilia Topuria faces Justin Gaethje. Alex Pereira faces Cyril Gane. Those are two major championship matchups that I am extremely excited for. You got one with Alex Pereira vacating the light heavyweight belt, going up to heavyweight. Huge. I mean, it's major. This could be the first person to get 3 belts. Middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight. This is huge. All right, this really is huge. I mean, this man is not only one of the most talented fighters we've seen. His aura has been unmatched. It legitimately has been unmatched. So, of course, you want to see him continue that train. You want to see him continue that. And if he gets this belt, right, you have to put him in them conversations. Now, I know as much as y'all don't want to do it, but you're going to have to put him in that conversation with Jonathan Bones Jones, okay? You're going to have to put him in the conversations with Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, because not only has he done what he's doing, he has done it in a short period of time. Alex has made a lot of accomplishments in the UFC in a short period of time. So, the man's going to go up there no matter what. No matter what. Oh, and I know what y'all thinking. This boy wearing a tank top? Yeah, because it's hot as a motherfucker. It is so hot in this podcast room. I could probably cook on the table. Okay? So, your boy wearing a tank top. We ain't muscle flexing, nothing like that. I'm a skinny little twig. We ain't doing none of that. None of that. So, don't make no corny ass comments. But yeah, so you got Alex Pereira. Huge matchup for him, right? Like I've said it in the past, I don't believe that Alex vacated his belt to move up to heavyweight to fight Cyril Gane, a guy who does not deserve a third shot at the title anyways. But it's happening. It is happening. And then you got Gaethje versus Ilia. Gaethje being the interim champ. Ilia going through all the different things that he has went through in this little hiatus of his. For him to come back, Justin, could be dangerous. This could be dangerous. But let's actually break down this whole card. Let's get to the opener real quick. All right, so weird how the internet will tell you that there's prelims on at 4 o'clock and then the main card's on at 8 o'clock, but there is no prelims on this card. It's just straight main card. That's it. It's just the straight main card. So opening the card, you got Steve Garcia versus Diego Lopez. Let me tell you something. If you are not hip to Steve Garcia, go get hip real quick and then come back to this video. just so you understand what type of fight you are about to get to open up the card. All right, this is about to be a slugger. These dudes are about to swing and bang, okay? It's just as simple as that. It's going to be a crazy good, explosive fight. And a lot of people probably looked at it when it first got announced, like, why is Steve Garcia and Diego Lopez opening this card? You'll see exactly why they're opening the card on Sunday, because it's the most perfect slotted fight on this card, without a doubt. And actually, I don't even know if it's opening the card now. Derek Lewis and Josh Hogan might be opening the card. But now I got to figure that out for sure. But I feel like Diego and Steve Garcia are still opening the card, right? Yeah. So Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia still opening the card. It's going to be a fantastic fight. It's going to be explosive. Who's going to win? That's a good question. Now you're looking at two scrappy fighters with two different styles, right? Steve Garcia is a very clean technical boxer. Right, not super clean. I mean, he can get drawn into scraps and stuff like that. He's not crazy clean, but he has very good boxing, and his entire style is boxing heavy. Everything is based off the boxing, right? He's very flat-footed, but he continues to pressure you, continues to bring forward, and continues to throw with decent volume. Not high volume, nothing crazy, but decent volume. He continues to put the pressure on you with his boxing, and I think that is always a key thing for Steve Garcia to end up getting a victory, to end up getting the win. But for this one, it's going to be tough, because Diego Lopez is not the guy who's just going to stand and try to box with you. Diego's going to mix his stuff up. He's going to throw kicks. He's going to throw knees. He's going to throw elbows. He's going to make it more of a dirty fight. And not dirty in cheating, but dirty in terms of just the style of the fight. It's going to be a little bit more grimy than just a technical boxing match where you can stay at your distance or even just push the pace but continue to be the one leading the dance with your hands. I don't think that's going to happen in this fight. Now, Steve Garcia has great hands, has good power, but we know that Diego Lopez has a chin. There's no question there. Diego Lopez has a fantastic chin, and he's also got fantastic pace too. He's really good at setting the pace, setting the pressure. So if he's the one that takes control and puts Steve Garcia on the back foot, I don't see Steve Garcia being able to have any of the success that he's had in his other fights, because a lot of his finishes were from him being able to be the one to put the pace, to set the pace, to put the pressure on him. So I don't see him being able to be the one to lead that part of the dance. I think Diego's going to take over when it comes to that. Now, where it could get tricky for Steve is the crazy stuff that Diego could throw in a tight combination. You might get a spinning back elbow. You might get a spinning back fist. You might get something wild. You don't know. Diego throws a lot, and Diego throws with intention to finish. He does not throw with intention to land and grab points. He is looking to finish. So Steve's got to be careful. Steve's got to pick the shots smart. He's got to stay defensively tight, not throw anything crazy, right? Also, a thing when you're fighting a guy like Diego Lopez, right? Somebody who is he's going to come forward with his hands, right? He's going to come forward with the hands, and all of a sudden he's going to throw some spinning shit, right? All of a sudden he brings that spinning shit into the game. You can't throw your combination while he's throwing his combination and expect that, because you would have to land right away. You have to land first and put something deep on him before he is able to come through and get that nasty spinning shit that he throws, right? Or anything crazy that he throws. Diego Lopez will end a combination with that. So Steve Garcia cannot be in the middle of one of his boxing combinations thinking he saw an opening after the hands, when really Diego let go of his hands and now he is throwing something spinning. You don't see it coming and you're getting dropped, right? Steve Garcia's got to be very careful in that situation. He's got to be very smart. And like I said, he has great boxing. He has good hands. But honestly, if I'm picking this fight, if I'm putting money on this fight, I got to go with Diego Lopez on this one. Moving on to, honestly, the one fight on the card I really don't care for. And it's nothing against either of the fighters. I don't understand the placement of this fight, right? I don't think it's a fight that should have been placed in the position that it's in, but it is what it is. And that's Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus. So obviously we know Bo Nickal with the wrestling, everything like that, his career all the way through college. I'm pretty sure he did the Olympics, everything like that. Like, Bo Nickal is one of the greatest, like, in terms of freestyle wrestling, one of the best we've ever seen, right? So I understand why you want to put an American wrestler who's well known as the American wrestler for being a champion, for being top tier, for being such a high level wrestler. Of course, you're going to want him on the White House card, on the UFC Freedom 250 card. Like, it's like the American card. You got to put the American guy. And realistically, when you think about it, there's controversy between a lot of the big American fighters, right? You got Sean Strickland. He's controversial. You got Bryce Mitchell, who's controversial, right? You got these guys that could fit onto this card, could have fit onto this card, and a lot of people you probably thought would have been on this card, like the Colby Covingtons out there, but they're controversial, right? Bo Nickel's probably the least controversial out of any of them. He doesn't talk in a crazy political manner. He doesn't really bring too much into the game, right? He doesn't equate it. You know, it's fight game. We're talking about the fight game. We don't need to get into the you know what I mean? Like, so maybe that's why they put him on a card over a lot of other American fighters. But I just feel like this fight doesn't draw much. This has nothing to it, right? Like, Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins, what's on the line for this? Really, realistically, is just for Bo Nickel to continue to get wins, right? Let's look at the fight in depth. Kyle Dawkins is going to come out, and he's obviously going to be striking. He's long, he's lanky, he's skinny, he's good at striking. He's also got decent grappling. He can sneak a submission in there here and there. But I see him having a lot of success early on the feet. And it's not that Bo's not game enough to stand in there with him, but Bo is on one of the biggest cards of his career. He's looking to get a win. Kyle Dawkins is going to be on his back within the first 3 minutes of the fight. Simple as that. Within the first 3 minutes of the fight, he will be on his back, and I could see Bo Nickel end up getting some sort of win by the end of the round. First round. I can see it happening in the first round. Now, I've been wrong before. It's a massive card. Guys are coming out with different pressure on them. Now, Kyle Dawkins might come out as an absolute animal. He's knowing he's fighting in front of the whole world. I mean, you're always fighting in front of the whole world, but you're fighting in front of the whole country in a way. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people don't care for you know, anything political based and anything that revolves around, you know, our current president and stuff like that. I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about it, but at the same time, like, it's such a cool, unique event, right? You might just want to turn it on just to check it out and see what it would look like, right? So for that viewer, that person that I'm gonna just click it on real quick. I'm curious to see what the stage looks like, or what the entrances are gonna look like with these guys walking out, where they're walking out from, right? Like, all these kinds of things. That's enough for you to get more eyes into who you are, into your game, into everything. Like, Kyle Dawkins could go out there and knock out Bo Nickel in the first minute, and in that first minute there could have been 25,000 new people that have never watched UFC, that don't even care about UFC, but were just curious about, what's this going to look like. They might have just snapped in right at that moment, saw the finish. You know what I'm saying? So, like, these guys are going to come out with different energy, because you never know what you're doing. You're fighting in front of the whole world, it feels like. So it's major. So Kyle Dawkins, he could come out. He could get a W. He could fight the best fight of his life. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would have to lean towards Bo Nickel, right? The grappling is much more successful on Bo Nickel's route. I don't see Kyle Dawkins being able to hold off multiple takedowns or anything like that. Now Bo's not like this crazy chain wrestler or anything like that, but once he knows he can close that distance, he can grab you, he's going to get you down. It's just that simple. He's going to get you down. He was wrestling some of the top guys in the world, right? In wrestling specific, where the only focus is wrestling, and he was taking and getting guys down on the back and pinning them like it was nothing, right? So I don't think it's going to be a problem for him to get down Kyle Dawkins. I think the biggest problem with this fight for Bo Nickel is if he has an ego in this fight and gets drawn into something that he shouldn't get drawn into. Now, him and Kyle Dawkins isn't going to be a scrap. Could be wrong, right? There has been many times where you expected two guys to not get in a scrap and they end up walking out, where the first thing that they do is hop into the van and get shipped on to the hospital because they got in that big of a war. So that happens, right? That does happen. I just don't see this fight playing that way, but I do see Bo Nickel getting a win. So that's my choice. That's my prediction. I'm going with Bo Nickel. Bo knows. All right, this next matchup is very interesting because this is the worst and best matchup for both opponents. Let me explain. Everybody is going into this fight with the thought process that, oh, this is Michael Chandler's retirement party. This is where Michael Chandler gets shipped to the Shadow Realm and it's game over. Michael Chandler's never going to get that Conor McGregor fight. He's never going to get a championship fight. He's never going to get that big fight that he's looking for ever again. He's going to get slept. I don't know. All right, let me tell you why you possibly could be wrong on that. Why would this be such a terrible matchup for Michael Chandler? Well, the striking style of Mauricio Rufy, the flashiness, the unpredictability, the fact that he's long, lanky, probably hard to close the distance on. You would think, all right, yeah, this is probably going to be a tough one for Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler couldn't get past Paddy Pimblett, right? I would say Mauricio Rufy as a striker is much better than Paddy, and that can cause a lot of problems for Mike. We've seen Mike get dropped. We've seen Mike get slept. Mauricio Rufy could end up throwing something you had no idea was coming. The spin kick against Bobby Green, King Green, you never saw it coming. Not telegraphed in any which way. So, yes, it is a very big possibility that Michael Chandler leaves himself open and gets slept by this man. But at the same time, when you want to look at the danger of this matchup, why is Michael Chandler not a danger for Mauricio Rufy? Mauricio Rufy is going to have success with a guy who's going to stand dead smack in front of him and try to strike with him. That's where he is going to have a field day and pick you apart like it's nothing. Why did he do that to Bobby Green? Because Bobby Green is somebody who stands in front of you and trades, right? He moves side to side. He's got lateral movement, but he moves like a boxer, right? He moves like a street fighting boxer, right? Like it's a little bit different. He's still in front of Mauricio Rufy. Rufy was able to come out, figure out the feints that he's got to throw. All of a sudden, spin kick knocks him out, right? With Chandler, it's a little bit different. You got Chandler he's constantly bouncing. He's explosive with every shot. Now, I can see Mauricio Rufy catching him on something when he's coming in. He catches him with some sort of counter. It's very possible Mauricio Rufy is that technically sound. But at the same time, if Michael Chandler is closing the distance while making this a gritty fight, that's going to be a problem for Mauricio Rufy. I don't care what anybody says. He hasn't fought anybody with the style of Michael Chandler, right? Michael Chandler has at least fought similar styles to Rufy. And here's the other thing people are forgetting. We dog Michael Chandler. We make fun of Michael Chandler for being this guy who waited around for this Conor McGregor fight. But there's one thing he did do for the Conor McGregor fight, and that is have multiple camps and train for a specific style fighter who is very similar to the style of Mauricio Rufy. Now, I do think at this point, Mauricio Rufy is going to have Michael Chandler on the speed. He's going to have him on a lot of different things when it comes to the hand speed, leg speed, right? But Michael Chandler is always dangerous. We haven't seen Mauricio Rufy get into a scrap, right? We haven't seen him get into a scrap. If Michael Chandler makes this a gritty fight, is he going to pull Mauricio Rufy into a scrap? Are we going to see Mauricio Rufy come off of his game plan of striking and being a clean technical striker? What are we going to end up witnessing if Michael Chandler is able to pull him into Michael Chandler's zone, right? If you're stuck in somewhere where Michael Chandler is having success, it could be an issue, right? Let's not forget how successful this man's career was in Bellator. Right? Look, you go back to Bellator when it actually was popular, when it had a decent division, when it had some pop to it. Michael Chandler was beating guys left and right, right? Obviously put on some of the best fights like of all time in MMA with Eddie Alvarez. So he's got it, right? He's out of his prime, but he's got it. And what does he have? He has a unique set of skills that could get you a W against a style like Mauricio Rufy. I don't know why I just broke that down like that. I don't know why that sounded so stupid when I said it. But either way, the style of Mauricio Rufy could end up backfiring. And Michael Chandler can end up closing distance, making the fight gritty. And who knows if Chandler ever decides to wrestle, ever decides to use the number one key strength of his game, if he ever decides to do it. Think about it. Think about the success he will end up having if he takes Mauricio Rufy down. You can make it a boring fight. Now, Michael Chandler is not a guy who wants to go out there and make any fight a boring fight. He wants the fans to be entertained. That's it. I will always have respect for him in that manner because that's all he wants. He wants the fans to be entertained. So I appreciate that. I love that about him. And you know he's going to go out there and put on an exciting fight. That's why he's on the card, right? He's not on the card. People are like, oh, he's being sacrificed. Sacrificed, right? Michael Chandler is on the card because he's one of the most exciting fighters in the division. If he goes out there and makes one of these stylish, smooth, clean fighters get into a gritty fight, one, you test a fighter in one of the best divisions. You give him a nice test. And two, you put on an exciting fight. That's the whole point. And here's the other thing. If Michael Chandler is being put up for slaughter or whatever, that means you might get one of the nastiest KOs on this card. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Now, with my whole argument, you probably think, oh, he's got to be leaning Michael Chandler. Well, you're wrong. I'm still leaning Mauricio Rufy. I just think the speed, things like that, are going to be a problem for Chandler. I can see Chandler having some success, but he leaves himself open. He does a lot of things where the clean technical striking of Mauricio Rufy should end up doing exactly what it needs to do and landing at the perfect time, right? A perfect time counter or some sort of feint into a finish. Like, I think Mauricio Rufy's got this one. On to Josh Hogan versus Derek Lewis. This is going to be very exciting. Very exciting because you are either going to see Josh Hogan put some pressure on Derek Lewis that Derek Lewis does not like, and you see Derek Lewis fold. Right? I hate to say it. You might see Derek Lewis fold. Watch the pressure that Josh Hogan brought right off rip to Curtis Blades. He was in his face right off rip with a middle finger and some shots. Rocked him early, right? Derek's a very slow-paced fighter. Sometimes he likes to start off real hot. Depending on who he's fighting against, he might just come out to the middle with a flying knee. But I think the thing is Josh Hogan is going to be coming out right at the same time. They're going to clash in the middle to start. But I think the pressure of Josh Hogan, I don't see Derek Lewis liking that. Now, on the other end, we know what Derek Lewis is capable of. If he catches anybody on the chin, so to keep this one a very simple and quick breakdown, right? It's either going to be Josh Hogan putting the pressure on him and making Derek Lewis fold, or Derek Lewis is going to go out there and get a first-round KO on some nasty shit. And it's going to be like Josh Hogan thinking that he's got it in the bag and Derek just chucks one and sleeps his shit. Realistically, the smartest bet is to go with Josh Hogan, the younger fighter, the quicker fighter, the more elusive fighter. But you can't take too much off the Curtis Blades fight yet. Yeah, you could say he's got a chin, you could say he's willing to get in scraps, but this is the heavyweight division, right? You don't hold on to a chin getting into fights like you just got into. You can't expect to get into a fight like that every single time you fight somebody in that division. Sooner or later, that chin's going to cave. And Derek Lewis is the guy to cave in anybody's chin. He's got the most knockouts in heavyweight division. I think most knockouts in UFC history regardless. So, yeah, you don't want to get chinned by that man. So, Josh Hogan's got to be smart. Josh Hogan cannot push it a little too much. And he also cannot leave himself open. Because when you pay attention to the last fight, too, even though he was rocking Curtis early, Curtis was throwing back shots that were stumbling Josh back, too. Josh just kept pushing forward. He was just like, fuck it, we're going to keep on going. So you got to give him props. He seems like he's going to be an exciting fighter. But at the same time, you cannot bank too much off of that chin on that last fight. Because if he gets caught by Derek Lewis, I don't think there's anything to say. He's going to go to sleep. Who do I choose in this fight? Who's my prediction? If I'm putting money on it, like I said, I'd probably rock with Josh Hogan. I probably would, just the younger, quicker fighter. But it's Derek Lewis, man. It's fucking Derek Lewis. 1 minute he looks like he shouldn't even be a UFC fighter. The next minute he's sending some top guy to the Shadow Realm. And that's realistically the heavyweight division sometimes too. It could 1 minute look like, damn, how is this guy even a top 5 ranked heavyweight? And then you see him knock on the next guy, and you're like, okay, I can't really argue it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's Derek Lewis. You can't really argue it. So it's gonna be interesting though. I don't expect the fight that you saw Josh Hogan and Curtis Blades get into, because that's not gonna be this one. All right, so you get into O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi. It's an interesting matchup. It really is. At first, I thought, okay, maybe this is a matchup for the UFC to try to get Sean O'Malley back in the win column. But at the same time, it's not a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park fight, but I do think Sean has him in the striking realm. Now, Ayman Zahabi is good when it comes to the counter striking, right? Like, he's got little sneaky counter striking. But how do you counter strike a guy like Sean O'Malley? It's not easy to counter strike somebody who's not the one continuously throwing. He's waiting for you to throw, but he will throw things that are very hard to counter. Sean's precision, his speed, his accuracy, it's hard to time up. Sometimes you have to have a style like Merab. Now, the one thing Ayman Zahabi has, two things. He's got Firas Zahabi in his corner. His older brother is one of the best, he's one of the best coaches, I should say, but at the same time, it's not. He has GSP under his belt. You know what I'm saying? You got GSP under your belt. Of course, you're going to go down in history as one of the best coaches. But fight IQ is not a problem in that gym at all. TriStar Gym is not a problem with fight IQ, right? So the gritty style, the counter-striking style, the willingness, and the fact that he is pretty well-rounded. Ayman Zahabi does pose a threat. Now, I do think that Sean has every tool to knock somebody out, right? Like I said, his precision, his timing, his speed, he's very smart when it comes to the hands. He's got decent takedown defense. It's just hard to defend against a guy like Merab. You know what I'm saying? I do see Sean piecing Ayman Zahabi up. I don't see him finishing him, though. I just see him piecing him up. I see a decent fight. Right, I see a decent fight where you see Zahabi have some success, but overall, Sean wins in the striking battle, outstrikes him, outlands him, lands the more damaging shots, maybe knocks him down a couple times, doesn't really even wobble him, just knocks him down a couple times. That's kind of my prediction for the fight. That's kind of how I see it going. I'm thinking two guys are going to go out there and strike, but you never know. Zahabi might try to switch it up and go the wrestling route. After seeing the way that Sean has lost in his last fights, it's not a bad idea. It's a good possibility that he might shoot for some sort of takedown, try to switch up the game, try to level change a little bit, and just keep Sean guessing to get Sean off of the striking rhythm. But if Sean gets in a flow state, gets in a rhythm, he could knock him out. There's no doubt in my mind. I think he 100% could knock him out. But I just see this fight going three rounds with Sean getting the W. All right, so we move on to the big dog breakdown, to the co-main event and the main event. This one's going to be quick because what I am doing for this one, instead of just doing the main event as the high-stakes fighter breakdown for Ilya and the high-stakes fighter breakdown for Justin, I'm also going to do it for the co-main event for Alex and Cyril. So we're going to give a small, quick little breakdown on these fights here in my prediction. Alex versus Cyril Gane. Listen, Cyril Gane, as much as I don't believe he deserves to be in that slot, he's not an easy fight. He's not an easy first matchup to go up to heavyweight. And when you look at Jon Jones versus Cyril Gane, it was a great matchup for Jon Jones to come out. You think, all right, maybe Cyril's going to strike with him, make it a little bit exciting. No, Jon went in there, wrestled, made it quick, made it easy, and simple as that. Alex is going to be striking with this man. Alex is going to be striking with him. You're going to see a lot of sneakiness from Cyril. A lot of those front kicks that he does, those side kicks that he does, right? You're going to see a little sneakiness. Now, how is he going to react once he starts getting hit with the leg kicks from Alex? The untelegraphed leg kicks from Alex are always a problem for every single fighter he's fought. He will make a guy switch stances within the first 30 seconds. As soon as he lands that first leg kick, guys are switching stances. Look at what he did to Ankalaev in the last fight, right? He made him switch stance right off rip. So I think that's one of the things with Alex is he's gonna shoot for those leg kicks. He's gonna continuously use the calf kicks. He's gonna be searching. He's going to be searching for a finish. He's at heavyweight. He's probably feeling stronger. He's much bigger, right? So he's bigger. He's feeling stronger. He's going to be searching for the finish. Now the problem with that is Searle is a natural heavyweight and is powerful, right? No matter what, he is still powerful. Tends to be a slow striker. If Alex is the one leading the dance, that could force something out of Searle to strike a little bit more. But he's a natural heavyweight and he hits hard. So Alex has got to be smart. Alex cannot get overzealous. You cannot hit the man and feel like, oh, I got this finish right now, I'm going to blitz him. That's where you end up getting knocked out the same way you did against Israel Adesanya. Now, the biggest difference is when Alex got knocked out against Israel Adesanya, it was a man cutting down to 185 who should not have been fighting at 185. You know what I mean? Like, the weight cut was definitely rough on him. It was a bad one, but he was able to get down to 185 to take the fight, but got overzealous. No matter what the case may be, he got overzealous and he got knocked out. Do not get overzealous. Do not get a little too hyped. Land your shots. Pick your shots. Be smart. Get in, get out. And I can see Alex ended up getting the finish. I really can. But Searle can pose a lot of danger, man. A lot of danger. And we'll get more in depth in that when we get to the high stakes fighter breakdown. But he does pose a lot of danger. Who do I think is gonna win? I got a problem. I'm leaning with Poatan. Not only because I want to see him win. I'm a little biased on it, but at the same time, the aura. And if he gets this one too, oh my gosh. All right, the main event. This one is simple as can be. Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria. If Justin Gaethje fights any way similar to the way that he fought against Paddy Pimblett, you're going to sleep. I think it's just that simple. Now, if Justin fights the same fight he fought against Tony Ferguson, he has a better chance. Maybe the second fight that he fought against Dustin, he has a better chance. When he fights, when he is cautious, right, he's a little bit better. He's a little bit better with his timing, with his pace. He doesn't get forced into throwing those crazy punches where he falls over, where he's throwing over, he's lunging his punches and stuff like that. Ilia Topuria only needs one. And when you talk about accuracy and timing, that man is one of the definitions of perfect when it comes to it. Look, I shouldn't say perfect. No one's ever perfect with anything. But he is close to when it comes to the timing, when it comes to the counter punching. And the fact that he's got power, man, the power and the accuracy, it's wild to see the way that he's been knocking out like all of our favorite fighters. If he knocks out Justin Gaethje, right? Somebody who's not easy to knock out. Now, we've seen Justin get KO'd before, but it takes a lot, right? Justin could withstand a lot of damage. But it seems like Ilia just has to land that shot. He just got to land that shot. Ilia is predicting a first-round knockout within the first 2 minutes. Justin said something about Ilia's wife leaving him, saying that he would leave him too, and that set a little bit of a fire under Ilia now, where Ilia had respect for him, and now he doesn't. So I think this is good. Now the fight has just become, in 1 week time, has become a completely different matchup. Completely different matchup. I think when these guys are face to face now, it's not going to look as friendly as it did the last time. Yeah, I got Ilia. I think I'm rocking just like a lot of people are. Now I am putting a bet down on Justin Gaethje because I know a lot of people are thinking in their head, he's getting slept. He's getting slept. The style, the way he fights, he's getting slept. But at the same time, we cannot forget the simple fact that Justin Gaethje can throw some random shit up and knock somebody out like he did against Dustin Poirier with that head kick. No one expected that. None of us would have predicted a head kick KO. He can throw those uppercuts. He can throw those overhand rights. He can get comfortable with the boxing. And if he ends up hurting Ilia in any way and ends up being able to take over the fight in his way, it's hard to say that Justin might. It's hard not to say that Justin might get the W. You know what I'm saying? He might actually get the W. So I don't know, but I am leaning Ilia Topuria right now by KO. But we'll talk more about that in the high stakes fighter breakdown. I have been on this video for 45 minutes. It's how long I've been doing this breakdown. So I hope y'all enjoy this video because it's a long recording and it's going to be a long edit. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you did enjoy, like, comment. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando is out. Peace.
Like